what's up? Hello, my name is Emma and today I am giving you guys my July wrap up. In the month of July, I read 8 books, which I am super satisfied with. July was also the month of the Summer Biannual Bibliothon, which is a readathon I help host twice a year. So if you were interested in checking out some of my video challenges, some skits, and some daily reading vlogs that I did every day, or at least for the first 5 days of the Summer Biannual Bibliothon, that playlist will be linked below. But today I'm going to be giving you guys some mini reviews and just chatting about some of my amazing books that I read in the month of July, which I'm really excited for. So the first book I read in the month of July is one I had been working on since May. I started this book at the end of May when I went to visit my dad. I went to BEA and BookCon. I had listened to it all throughout June, still didn't finish, had to listen to like half of July for me to finish it, but that book is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. This is the third book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, which I absolutely love. If I'm correct, this is where the story arc of the characters we have come to know for the last 3 books ends, and then the story will pick up, I have no idea when, with some new characters. I did enjoy my time reading it, but I do think it is my least favorite of the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. It's just the beginning was like so good. I was so invested in the beginning, and then in the middle, I really just like wasn't following as much. There's so much content to consume, and at some points, it just was a little bit harder for me to stay focused and stay engaged. And then nearing the end of the book, like the last like 8 or so hours of the book, I was really invested in it. I had a great time reading it, and I thought it was such a fantastic book. I believe I settled on a rating of 4 stars for this book, specifically because I really enjoyed it and would give the beginning and the end 5 stars, but the middle just like wasn't for me personally. But all around, I enjoyed it. I do think the best way I can describe it is just like a really good, satisfying conclusion to the story arc of these characters, and I'm very interested to see where the series goes from here. I do want to mention, although I feel the discussion about this has really died down after its release in May, but there were a lot of critiques and reviews about how this book handled characters from the LGBTQIA+ community. These are not topics that I can personally speak on, but if you're interested in finding out as to what some LGBT reviewers have said about some of the content in this book, I will leave some reviews and just general discussion about this book in the description so that you can maybe stay aware of what you're reading. That being said, I did really enjoy this book. I don't think it's ever taken me 2 months to listen to a book on audio because it's like a 26-hour audiobook, but it was fun. I was super happy to be back invested in the world, and I think Sarah J. Maas has done a really great job with this series. So the first book that I physically read in the month of July is Speak by Lori Halse Anderson. This was sent to me last month from Julia Talks Too Much. So of course, thank you so much, Julia, for sending me one of my new faves. But the reason I decided to pick it up this month is sometimes I will just like hand my boyfriend a stack of books and be like, what should I read next? And he picked Speak because it's actually a book that he read in high school and I had it. So I'm extremely glad that I read this story. I think I gave Speak 4.5 out of 5 stars because it's not necessarily an enjoyable story. I'm going to put a huge trigger warning for sexual assault on this book. It is so much more important to me that survivors of sexual assault and related trauma are able to know what books may be potentially harmful to them. So getting that right out, I do think that this is a really important novel. I'm actually kind of disappointed I didn't read it in high school because I think it would have changed me as a person to read it as a teenager as opposed to a young adult. It definitely has opened my eyes in a new way, as I've never actually read a book about sexual assault before, but I just think it is ultimately a really powerful novel. So I definitely would recommend Speak, with caution for those of you who may have trouble coping with some of the subjects in this book. But all around, I think Lori Halse Anderson is an extremely talented writer. I'm super satisfied with the second work that I read from her. I can't wait to read more in the future, and I ultimately just think this is a really important book that absolutely every person should read. There is just so much value to it, and I feel like I haven't read a book like this in a very long time, if ever. So thank you so much to Julia for sending it to me and for Doug for picking it out for me to read. The next book I read in the month of July is Daughter of the Burning City by Amanda Foody, which I have definitely talked about a little too much this month. I gave Daughter of the Burning City 4.5 out of 5 stars because I really loved this book. I actually buddy read it with my best friend Michael from BookLion, and Michael and I are going to be doing a live show just talking about this book very soon, so I definitely recommend picking it up if you want to chat with us about it. I was absolutely enthralled by Daughter of the Burning City. From the very first page, there is something so captivating about this world. There's so much magic and mystery and suspense, and there's like so much to love about it. I've given a synopsis a million times, but it is all about this girl named Serena who is a part of this traveling festival called Gomorrah, where she's an illusion worker, meaning she can create these very real seeming projections that aren't actually there. So she has this entire family of kind of like imaginary people that feel real to her. All of a sudden her illusions are starting to be killed off one by one. Nobody knows who the killer is or how they're killing things that aren't real, and it is the story of her investigating and finding out the truth behind her illusions and their murders, and it was just so much fun. I loved it so much. There are also quite a few characters in this book that belong to the LGBTQ plus community. Although new terms are actually used in this book, it is very evident that her main character named Serena is bisexual. Her sister is a woman who is interested in women, and I can't exactly place my finger on what sexuality our love interest would identify as, but I have seen reviews associating him with demisexuality, which is a sexuality that does not get like any representation in literature. So I was very happy to see some form of that expressed in the book, but honestly don't quote me on any of this. I obviously can't speak for the representation in this book, but there were so many diverse sexualities that were integrated very naturally and really normalized people that actually exist in our world today. So that was very pleasing to me. And the other critique I had was the magic system was just not absolutely perfect. I saw some flaws, some things I didn't understand, and I definitely think there is room for improvement as this is a debut novel. All in all, fantastic read. Amanda Foody is a fantastic person. I would definitely recommend picking up Daughter of the Burning City, and I hope you guys tune in for me and Michael's live show. Continuing on with a read-along I started for myself last month, the next audiobook that I listened to in the month of July is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. If you didn't know, I am reviewing Harry Potter as I reread them for the 16th, 17th, 18th, who knows what 10th time, but I have already posted my review of Prisoner of Azkaban. I will leave that in the link below, and I have my Chamber of Secrets review filmed, so that is coming very, very soon. I have been enjoying the crap out of this reread along. It has been so much fun. I love the Jim Dell audiobooks, which are the ones that I'm listening to right now, and they're just I just feel home and happy, and I always want to listen to them, and it has just been such a great experience. Regarding Chamber of Secrets specifically, I have to say this particular reread, I didn't enjoy it as much as like my previous reread. Chamber of Secrets is my least favorite Harry Potter book, always has been. I'm just not a big fan of sequels when it comes to first books that are like so freaking amazing. But there have been times when I have reread Chamber of Secrets and I'm like, this book is really freaking great, and there have been other times where I'm like, nah, it's still not the best Harry Potter book, and this time I kind of felt like that. But it was fun. I'm still so glad that I reread Chamber of Secrets. There's definitely things I noticed this time around that I'm excited to discuss in that review, and if you haven't read Harry Potter in a while, would definitely recommend rereading it. I'm having a great time, and I'm super happy I read Chamber of Secrets this month. So now we are jumping into my official biannual Bibliothon reading wrap-up. I listened to an audiobook the week of the Summer Biannual Bibliothon, and of course it was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Can I just say I think this is my favorite of the new US paperbacks because oh my god, it's gorgeous. For the biannual Bibliothon, I used Prisoner of Azkaban to complete the challenge of read a banned book, because I don't know if Prisoner of Azkaban specifically has been banned, but Harry Potter has definitely been banned like a million times. But also for the challenge of reading a book that has a movie adaptation, and of course it fulfilled both of those perfectly, and it was a perfect book. What more can I say? Although I didn't enjoy Chamber of Secrets as much this time around, I loved Prisoner of Azkaban like I always do. It's just so good. Like, it really is one of the best Harry Potter books there is. The first two Harry Potter books are like very fluffy, and they have like the essence of like innocent magic, and Prisoner of Azkaban is where things start getting a little bit darker nearing the end, and watching that dynamic form is always really interesting to me. There's just so many great lines and scenes. I was rewatching the Prisoner of Azkaban movie this morning, and there's just something about this particular Harry Potter story that stands out to me as being very unique, and I always enjoy my time rereading it. The first physical book I read for the biannual Bibliothon is Flame in the Mist by Renee Athier. This book completed two challenges as well, the first being for our group book, where every round we encourage everyone participating to read the group book if they can, because we do have a live show at the end of every readathon. So if you would like to check out some of the host's thoughts on Flame in the Mist by Renee Athier, I will leave that link below. But I also used it to complete the challenge of read a book from one of the host's favorite genres. As Brittany from Brittany's Book Find, one of my lovely friends and fellow hosts' favorite genre is high fantasy. Flame in the Mist is high fantasy. I really wanted to read it for this challenge, but she also did send me a copy of Flame in the Mist, so of course thank you so much, Brittany. Originally, I had given Flame in the Mist 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it so much. I marathoned it in the very first day of the biannual Bibliothon, and I thought it was like such an amazing story. And then as the week went on and we got to the end of the week 7 days later for the live show, I realized I had forgotten so much of this book. In the end, after considering all the positives I felt of it, all of the negatives, and that particular reading experience, I lowered my rating to 4 stars because I did really enjoy it, but you know, it wasn't a perfect book in my opinion. Again, I do explain things sometimes better in my Goodreads review, and I've linked the Flame in the Mist one in the description. But regarding me reading it too fast and forgetting content, I do not necessarily think these are like directly related. I've read both of Renee Authier's previous works and they are amazing. I love the Wrath of the Dawn duology, but again, a week after reading them, I forget all of the content. Based on my personal reading experiences with her books, I cannot say that it is specifically because I read Flame in the Mist in one day. It's a common theme among her books. I think she has beautiful writing, I think she writes amazing stories, but they just don't stick well with me. Of course, Renee Authier always has the most beautiful, just delicious writing. I love the way she writes her stories, and I really enjoyed the overarching plot of Flame in the Mist. The only critiques I really have is that I felt the romance kind of came out of nowhere, and the same goes from the magic system. Like, it was kind of present in the beginning, there's really nothing in the middle, and then the end we're just like bombarded with magic, and I kind of prefer to have books to have like a stable magic system that we can learn more about slowly and really understand it, especially with high fantasy. So that might just be a personal thing for me, but those are really the things I didn't like about Flame in the Mist. Also, there were definitely parts where it was more slow paced, but the action scenes, the scenes I really loved, were like perfectly written, and I couldn't have asked for anything more. So I think I have like some mixed feelings on this book, but overall I did enjoy it. I just don't know if it's necessarily for everyone because I have heard some mixed reviews. It was fun though. I had a great time reading it, and that's how I'm gonna remember Flame in the Mist, not necessarily the fact that I don't remember exactly everything that happened. I'm gonna remember all of the excitement I had while reading it for the very first time. The next book I read for the Biennial Bibliothon is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, which comes out on September 5th. I used TBDATE to complete the challenge for read a book with a main character from the LGBTQIA+ community, as this is an Own Voices novel featuring a gay main character and a bisexual main character. TBDATE takes place in a world where on the day you are going to die, you receive a call from a company called Deathcast letting you know that in the next 24 hours you will meet your untimely death. And it is the story of these two boys who grew up in New York City but never knew each other, about how they meet on this app called the Last Friend app, and they spend their last day of their lives together, and we have to find out if they both die at the end. I freaking loved this book so much. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was super emotional, super heavy, but also like lighthearted and fun. Like, Adam just always strikes the correct balance. The most intriguing thing about this book to me is just the concept of the world. Like, as I'm reading, I'm like, Adam, I need you to write like 7 sequels of different experiences people can have in this world where Deathcast exists. It's just a really interesting, like, speculative YA about death. It's about coming to terms with where you are in your life, what are your regrets, what were your goals, like what do you want to do, who is the person you want to be. It just really made me think. It made me look inside myself in a way that a lot of YA books don't, and I think that is just like such an important part of this novel. Is it really makes you consider, like, how would you want to spend your end day? How would you feel if other people in your life were in your end day? And I mean, that sounds like really morbid, and it is a morbid book, but it is also super funny. Like, Adam definitely knows how to make dark humor work, and it definitely does in TBDATE. In addition to featuring a gay and bisexual main character, it does also feature a Puerto Rican and Cuban main character. If you didn't know, Adam is going on tour this fall for They Both Die at the End, so I will leave a link to all of the information for the TBDATE tour if you want to stop by and see Adam. But I am actually going to be at Adam Silvera's event on September 5th for his launch party at Barnes & Noble in Tribeca in New York City at 6 p.m. I'm going to be co-moderating Adam's event with my very best friend Michael from BookLion, and I am extremely excited for it. We did the same thing for his History's All You Left Me signing, and I'm just really excited to see you all there. Adam has quite a few different tour dates. There's actually 2 more in New York if you can't make it to the launch party. Adam's also going to be at the Brooklyn Book Festival and then another event at Books of Wonder. So if you have the chance, I would definitely recommend going out to support Adam on his tour, but if you can't make it, if they're too far away, I totally understand. I would definitely recommend picking up They Both Die at the End, reserving it at your local library, pre-ordering it, getting it once it comes out. I just think it's an important novel, and I would love to see more of you guys experience it. Now, before I get to the last book of this haul, speaking of Books of Wonder, because you know I'll take every opportunity to talk about them. Books of Wonder, my favorite New York City bookstore, has an amazing collection of signed books, and they often do pre-orders where if you pre-order a book, you can get it signed by the author. So they have some really amazing offers this fall. So I do have 3 books that I am really excited to read this fall that you guys can get an awesome deal on. Using this coupon code, you can get a really awesome discount. So go to booksofwonder.com if you're interested in these books and use that discount code #nonspawn. I don't make any money off of this. I really just want you guys to have the opportunity to get books signed by your favorite authors. So those books are Warcross by Marie Lu. Literally so freaking excited for this book. Definitely gonna be one of my next ones to read. Release by Patrick Ness. also freaking amazing. I'm extremely excited for this one based off of the reviews as well. And The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding by Alexandra Bracken, which is one of my all-time favorite YA authors' newest middle grade series, and it sounds freaking fantastic. Books of Wonder does ship internationally, so if you're like a huge fan of Marie Lu but you don't know if you'll ever get the opportunity to get your book signed, this might be an offer that you'd want to take advantage of. I am aware that Books of Wonder can have some pricey international shipping because they ship through USPS, which I know from personal experience is very expensive to ship through, which I understand it limits the amount of people that can take advantage, but I would definitely recommend it if you're able to. I think having signed books is something so special, and I'm so lucky to know Books of Wonder for having all of these amazing signed books for you guys to take advantage of. Just throwing that in there because I love giving you guys the opportunity to get more signed books. So thank you so much to Books of Wonder for running this amazing promotion and for always having the best signed book collection there is. But the final book that I read in the month of July is I Hate Everyone But You by Gabby Dunn and Allison Raskin. This book was sent to me by St. Martin's Press, so thank you guys so much for sending me a copy, but I ended up giving this book 4.5 stars. Again, I just loved all the books I read this month. This is a really cool novel because the entire book is told through text and email conversations. It's not a traditional novel format, and I think it fit the story very well. It's all about these two best friends who are going to separate colleges for the very first time, and it's literally just the experience across their very first semester. I Hate Everyone But You is Own Voices rep for not only the OCD and anxiety rep for one of our main characters, but one of the other main characters belongs to the LGBT community, and it is written by a bisexual author. The main character in question, Ava, does not use one specific label to identify as. She does toy with the term bisexuality a bit. She has a few relationships with both men and women throughout the novel, so I don't know if that's necessarily considered Own Voices, but it is written by an author who is a part of the LGBT community as well. I just had a lot of fun with this book. It was really lighthearted, fast-paced. It just like kept me entertained. It's definitely not super sophisticated or mature. I think it is definitely aimed at younger readers, but I still really enjoyed it. All around, it just definitely has relevant content matter to the audience it's aimed at, and it is also literally LOL funny. I was laughing so hard while reading this book. The humor is A+, and it was really enjoyable. It was so much fun. It was a great book about a very realistic friendship, and I'm super happy I read it. So that is really it for my July wrap-up. I read so many freaking fantastic books this month, and I hope you did as well. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you read any of these books, what were your thoughts, or what was your favorite book that you read in the month of July. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new one. Bye!